on First at 9 this Sunday, the 28th of December 2025. Farewell. The nightingale of Sri Lankan music, Latha Walpola, passes away at 91. Rain alert. DMC warns of heavy rain, precautions in place across provinces. Extended. Government extends state of public emergency. Bomb fear. Doha, Sri Lanka flight under heightened security after threat.
Kalin baby so Rupial Anuakata. Kalin baby body hamotamai.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9 on Derana News Channel, Sri Lanka's most trusted news source. I'm Latha, joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. We begin with your top story. Veteran singer Latha Walpola, widely known as the Nightingale of Sri Lankan music, passed away last evening at the age of 91. Her final rites will be held with full state honours on Wednesday, the 31st of December.
Sri Lanka's legendary singer and music icon Latha Walpola, fondly known as the Nightingale of Sri Lankan music, passed away last evening while receiving treatment at Sri Jayawardhanapura Hospital. She was 91 years old at the time of her passing. Born in 1934 in Mount Lavinia as Rita Genevieve Fernando, she first showcased her talents in the church choir. At the age of 12, she began her musical journey by joining the Radio Ceylon choir in 1946. She later married veteran singer Dharmadasa Walpola and rose to prominence under the stage name Latha Walpola. In 1953, she made her cinematic debut as a playback singer in the film Edara and went on to lend her voice to more than 600 films. Over an extraordinary career spanning 8 decades, she recorded more than 1,000 songs, leaving an enduring legacy in Sri Lankan music and cinema. Her children have also pursued careers in music, continuing the artistic legacy of the Walpola family. Latha Walpola received numerous accolades throughout her career, including 5 Sarasavya Awards, 2 Presidential Awards, the Deepashika Award, the Golden Swan Award, and the Kalashuri Award. She also participated in several musical programs broadcast on TV Derana. Meanwhile, a video featuring the veteran singer with Aksha Chamudi, the most popular star from Derana Little Stars Season 9, has been widely shared on social media. The renowned artist was also seen singing on her 91st birthday. News of her passing was first announced during last night's broadcast of Derana Dream Star by veteran singer Kirti Pascual.
අපේ ප්‍රවීණ ගායන ශිල්පිනී ලතා වල්පොල මහත්මිය දැන් විනාඩි කිහිපයකට කලින් අභාව ප්‍රාප්ත වුණා. ටීවී දෙරණ හැටියට අපි ඒ පවුලේ අයට අපේ හෘදයාංගම කනගාටු මේ අවස්ථාවේ පළ කරමු. එතුමියට මෝක්ෂ සුව අත් වේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමු.
The mortal remains of the late Latha Walpola were placed at the Jayaratna Funeral Parlour in Borella from 4 p.m. today, allowing the public to pay their final respects. A large number of artists, politicians and members of the public attended. It was decided that the final rites of Latha Walpola will be held on Wednesday, December 31st with full state patronage.
ජෝති ලතා ඔය දෙපළට තමයි අපි සිනමාවේ ආදරය කළේ. දෙවන වහන්සේගේ කැමැත්ත මේක නම් අපිට කාටවත් කරන්න බෑ.
ඉන්දියාවට ලතා මංගেশකර් අපිට හිටිය ලතා වල්පොල අද ඒ දෙදෙනම නැහැ. මේ තුමියගේ ගීත සංරක්ෂණය කරලා අනාගත පරපුර වෙනුවෙන් ආරක්ෂා කිරීම වගකීම්වන්ගේ යුතුයකමක්.
සිනමාවට අපේ සංගීතයට ඒ වගේ ගායිකාවකයි බිහි වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
තුමියගේ දේහ පිළිබඳ අවසන් කටයුතු පූර්ණ රාජ්‍ය අනුග්‍රහය යටතේ සිදු කරන්න තීන්දුව කර තිබෙනවා. නිදහස් චතුරස්‍රයේදී ලබන 31 වෙනිදා අවසන් කටයුතු වල මුල් භාගය නිදහස් චතුරස්‍ර පරිශ්‍රයේදී සිදු වෙලා බොරැල්ල කනත්තේදී අවසන් කටයුතු එදිනම සවස සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
The 30% discount on Apico Farm and Spring mattresses available at Apico Supercenter and Apico Daily.
The Disaster Management Centre warns of heavy rainfall expected tomorrow across several provinces, adding that all necessary precautionary measures have been put in place to minimise the risk of further disasters. Meanwhile, estate workers from the Kotiagala estate in Bagawantalava have donated 108,000 rupees, representing a day's wages to the Rebuilding Sri Lanka Fund in support of those affected by recent floods.
The Disaster Management Centre warns of heavy rainfall expected tomorrow across the northern, north central, Uva and eastern provinces. The centre says all necessary precautionary measures have already been taken to minimise the risk of further disasters. Meanwhile, a 50-year-old building at Muttur Central College has completely collapsed after being submerged in floods caused by Cyclone Dithwa. School authorities urge the government to urgently address the shortage of school buildings ahead of the upcoming academic year. In Kaudulla, officials from the irrigation department have commenced reconstruction work on the protective embankment of Kambiliawaya and access roads to farmlands. These structures were damaged following floods triggered by the opening of spill gates at the Kaudulla reservoir. An aesthetic and recreational program aimed at supporting the mental well-being of displaced families was held yesterday at the National Cadet Corps Training Centre in Rontambe, where several affected villages are currently sheltered. Against this backdrop, the Small and Medium Scale Enterprises Association has requested the government to extend the deadline for registering disaster-affected industries until the 16th January 2026.
පහුගිය කාලේ ඇති වෙලා තිබිච්ච මේ ව්‍යසනයන් එක්ක මේ
We request the government to provide necessary support to rebuild affected businesses through permanent capital investment and concessional loan facilities. The deadline to register destroyed businesses ended on December 16, 2025. However, divisional and district secretariats have not yet completed surveys or collected accurate data. Therefore, we urge the government to extend the deadline to January 16, 2026. The compensation of 200,000 rupees currently offered is not sufficient to cover the losses incurred.
මේක තාම ලැබෙමින් පවතිනවා කියලා. මොකද රුපියල් ලක්ෂ 2යි දෙන්නේ. මං හිතන්නේ නැහැ ලක්ෂ 2 ප්‍රමාණවත් වෙයි කියලා.
Meanwhile, estate workers from the NC section of the Kotiagala estate in Bagawantalava have donated their one-day salary to the Rebuilding Sri Lanka Fund, contributing 108 rupees. The donation was handed over yesterday to National People's Power Nuwara district parliamentarians. Farmers in several affected areas state that they are yet to receive compensation for crop damage caused by Cyclone Dithwa. The All Ceylon Small and Medium Scale Paddy Mill Owners Association warns of a possible rice shortage if compensation is delayed and cultivation does not resume immediately.
It is crucial that the government implement effective measures to protect and restore farmers' livelihoods. Keeping farmers engaged in cultivation at this time is essential to ensure a stable harvest next year. Failure to act promptly could force the country to rely on rice imports in the future.
Leader of the opposition Sajith Premadasa urges the government to respond to the needs of displaced citizens with urgency and integrity, cautioning against adding to their hardships through unfulfilled promises. Addressing a program, Premadasa highlighted that commitments made to provide disaster relief are being increasingly revised or postponed, leaving affected communities in prolonged uncertainty.
Under the Husma initiative of the Samagi Janabalawegaya, medical equipment worth over 4.6 million rupees was donated today to the disaster-hit Mahiyangane Base Hospital. A significant number of people remain displaced following Cyclone Dithwa. These individuals are now facing additional hardships due to shortcomings in the relief measures. In Parliament, government MPs presented a list of planned relief initiatives. While commitments were made to allocate land and build housing, those assurances are being revised or delayed. We urge the government not to add to the distress of displaced citizens through unfulfilled promises. This is no time for political games. The nation is dealing with the severe impact of a natural disaster. Families have suffered greatly and the government must address their needs with urgency transparency and sincerity.
මේ ජනතාවගේ ජීවිතත් එක්ක සෙල්ලම් කරන්න එන්න එපා.
The government has issued a gazette notification extending the state of public emergency, which will take effect from today. The notification was issued by the Secretary to the President under the directives of the President.
The Gazette notification declaring a state of public emergency has been further extended with effect from today. The notification was issued by Secretary to the President Dr. Nandika Kumanayaka under the directives of President Anura Disanayaka. The state of public emergency was initially declared on November 28th in response to the prevailing disaster situation across the country. Authorities say the extension is aimed at ensuring public safety, maintaining national stability and securing the uninterrupted supply of essential goods and services while also addressing concerns raised by the opposition. Meanwhile, Frontline Socialist Party Education Secretary Pubudu Jayagoda raised concerns over a letter issued by the Secretary to the Ministry of Defence speaking at a media briefing today.
හරි ලස්සන වැඩක් කරලා තියෙනවා ආරක්ෂක අමාත්‍යාංශ ලේකම් සම්පත්තුය කොන්ත.
The Secretary to the Ministry of Defence has issued a letter dated December 21st but backdated to December 15th stating that the disaster situation had ended. However, nearly 10,000 people are still living in displacement camps. It appears there was undue haste in declaring that the disaster situation was over. Moreover, the Meteorological Department, which falls under the Defence Ministry, did not issue any announcement until 5:30 p.m. on November 27th, despite India having officially informed that a cyclone had already made landfall. Under such circumstances, how can a donation drive be conducted when a circular has been issued stating that the disaster situation ended on December 15th?
චක්‍රලේඛයක් ගැහුවට පස්සේ ආධාරයක්වත් ගන්නේ කොහොමද?
Manasat Derana visited Madosima village where Cyclone Ditwa left large parts in ruins. Landslides and floods have swept away hillsides and destroyed most homes in the tea estate line rooms. Many families have been displaced, now seeking shelter in safety centres. Bringing hope amid the hardship, the Manasat Derana team arrived ahead of the new year. The initiative delivered much needed school supplies, helping children return to their class with confidence. Books and other essentials donated by the public were distributed to 361 children across several relief centres, restoring smiles and renewed hope for the future. Samagijana Balawegya MP SMR Carr alleges that there is an attempt to appoint a government loyalist as Auditor General as audits into key institutions are set to begin from January 1st. He made this claim amid concerns over the continued vacancy in the Auditor General's post.
The position of Auditor General has remained vacant since April 8 this year, with no permanent appointment made to date. In the interim, Dharmapala Gammanpila, a senior official in the Auditor General's department, has been serving in an acting capacity. Although his term as acting Auditor General was extended several times, the Constitutional Council recently stated that a permanent appointment must now be made. In the meantime, multiple nominees proposed by the President for the post were rejected by the Constitutional Council. As a result, no individual has held the post of Auditor General since December 5th.
මේකේ තියෙන වෙන කතාවක්. ජනාධිපතිතුමා එවපු නන් දෙක.
There is another side to this issue. The Constitutional Council, which rejected the two nominees proposed by the President, is set to expire on December 31st. They are trying to undermine the powers of the opposition by using authority vested in the Prime Minister and aim to appoint 3 loyalists to the Auditor General's post to serve their agenda. All departments, institutions and corporations will be subject to audit starting January 1st. This includes the 300 container scam, the stalled Clean Sri Lanka program and the use of foreign aid. It appears this is an attempt to install a loyalist as Auditor General. They speak of transparency and system change, but no president in history has acted in this way.
කතාව විවිධභාවය සිස්ටම් චේන්ජ් එක මීට පෙර වෙන කිසිදු ජනාධිපතිවරයෙක් විගණකාධිපතිවරයෙක් සම්බන්ධව මේ විදිහට හැසිරෙලා.
Suspended police constable Susantha Hettiarachchi of the Suryakanda police station says justice has yet to be served over a complaint he filed following an altercation with National People's Power MP Shanta Padma Kumara. He made this statement after reporting to the Colonna police station today to provide a recorded statement.
A dispute that erupted during a cannabis raid between Suryakanda Police Constable Susantha Hettiarachchi and National People's Power MP Shanta Padma Kumara has resulted in the officer's suspension. Constable Hettiarachchi reported to the Colonna police station today in response to a notice requesting a statement regarding the failure to investigate a complaint he made via the 119 hotline on the day of the incident. He was also questioned over a complaint submitted to the Ratnapura DIG's office concerning threats to his personal safety.
මට පහර දුන්න සැකකරුවෝ කිසි කෙනෙක් අත්අඩංගුවට
None of the suspects who assaulted me have been arrested and they are still at large. I am afraid to go out and I am currently on bail. If anything happens to me or my family, the government must take responsibility.
ගන්න ඕනි කියලා තමයි මම පොලිසියෙන් ඉල්ලුවේ. ආරක්ෂාව ඉල්ලුවාද? ආරක්ෂාව ඉල්ලුවම.
ඔයාගේ ෆැමිලි සම්බන්ධයෙන් සාධාරණ කිසිවක් නැහැ කියලා කියන්නේ.
ඔව්. මේ වෙනතෙක් නෑ.
Meanwhile, several political representatives expressed differing views on the incident.
නීතිය සැමට සමානයි කිව්වත්
Although the law is said to be equal for all, this does not appear to apply when NPP members are involved. A police officer has now lost his job simply for performing his duty.
පොලිස් නිලධාරියෙක් රාජකාරී කරන්න ගිහින්
ඇත්තටම ගත්තොත් පොලිස් නිලධාරීන්ට හරි සාමාන්‍ය පුරවැසියන්ට පීඩනයට ලක් කරන්න අපේ ආණ්ඩුවට කිසිම උවමනාවක් නැහැ. පොලිස් නිලධාරීන් පහර දෙන්න අපි දේශපාලන ව්‍යාපාරයක් විදිහට ඒ පහත් තැනට වැටලා නැහැ.
සාමාන්‍ය මිනිස්සුන්ට නැති කිසිවක් එපා.
The people understand the reality of the NPP government, which initially promised public service but failed to uphold the law in both the Ranwala case and this police officer's case. The government must remember that minor incidents like these could escalate into major public protests.
වැඩි ඈතක නෙමෙයි කියලා ආණ්ඩුව උදේ මතක තියාගන්න.
අබ්බමල් රේනුවකවත්.
There has been no significant change in public support. In fact, public confidence in the government has strengthened.
ඉහලින් තියපු එක.
30% discount on Arpico Foam and Spring mattresses. Available at Arpico Supercenter and Arpico Daily.
වසරකට ළමුන් 22000කගේ පාසල් ගමන මග නවතිනවා.
එවන් දරුවන් නැවත පාසල් යවන්න අභ්‍යාස පොත් පරිත්‍යාග කරන්න. සෑම පොතකටම ඇට්ලස් පොතක් අපෙන්.
Welcome back to First at 9. Now taking you to more local news. A flight arriving from Doha at Bandar Naik International Airport was subjected to heightened security measures today following a reported threat. Following a thorough inspection by security agencies, authorities confirmed that no suspicious items were found and that the alert was a hoax.
A flight arriving from Doha at Bandar Naik International Airport this morning was subjected to a special security inspection following a reported threat. Airport authorities said an email sent to the airport's official address claimed that 4 passengers on board were planning an explosion. The aircraft, which landed at 8:27 am with 245 passengers, was immediately brought to the attention of security officials. The pilot was contacted during the flight and confirmed that no security threat had been detected on board. However, as a precautionary measure, the aircraft was directed to a designated isolation area upon landing. All passengers and crew were safely disembarked and a comprehensive inspection was carried out by the bomb disposal unit and other security agencies. Following the inspection, authorities confirmed that no explosives or suspicious items were found. The aircraft was subsequently cleared and returned to normal operations, departing for Doha at 1:07 pm. Police later confirmed that the incident was a hoax, similar to a false bomb threat reported on December 26th at the Kandy District Secretariat. Preliminary investigations revealed that both threatening emails originated from outside Sri Lanka. Police say the Criminal Investigation Department, together with intelligence agencies, has launched a special investigation to identify those responsible.
Former Minister Douglas Devananda, recently arrested by the Criminal Investigation Department, has been remanded until January 9, 2026 after being produced before the Gampaha Magistrates Court today. Devananda was taken into custody on Friday in connection with the discovery of his personal firearm in the possession of an organized criminal gang. The firearm had originally been issued to him by the Sri Lanka Army in 2001 for personal use and was later recovered following the 2019 interrogation of notorious criminal figure Makhandure Madush. The CID had obtained a 72-hour detention order yesterday to continue questioning Devananda regarding the incident. With that, here's a look at more local news in brief.
A 57-year-old man from Sabaragamuwa, Ayagama died after being assaulted following a dispute with a neighbor. The victim succumbed to his injuries at Ratnapura Hospital. A 40-year-old suspect has been arrested. And Ayagama police are continuing investigations. During island-wide anti-drug raids under the Nation United National Drive yesterday, police arrested 840 suspects, issued detention orders for 11 and sent 6 for rehabilitation. Authorities seized 378 grams of heroin, 417 grams of methamphetamine, 554 grams of cannabis and 996 narcotic pills. The campaign aims to disrupt drug networks, reduce demand and strengthen community-based prevention and rehabilitation efforts. Meanwhile, 8 people, including a software engineer, were arrested in Andhra Pradesh for allegedly supplying 74 kilograms of cannabis from Nasipatnam to Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka. Nathavaram police seized the drugs, a car, 2 motorcycles and phones after intercepting the gang near Sugavaram village. The narcotics were sourced from Odisha and investigations are ongoing.
Now in your business news, Air Astana has commenced 2 weekly flights from Almaty, Kazakhstan to Bandaranaike International Airport in Colombo, operating every Monday and Thursday. Each Airbus A321 service can carry 160 passengers, with operations scheduled to continue until March 2026, represented locally by LSR. The inaugural flight was celebrated with a water salute, while arriving passengers were welcomed by a cultural dance performance. The Sri Lanka Tourism Authority noted that Kazakhstan, part of Eastern Europe, is emerging as a promising market, expected to help diversify the country's tourism beyond traditional source markets. Welcome back. Now taking you to international news, voters in Myanmar turned out in low numbers today for a general election held under the shadow of civil war and growing concerns over its credibility. This is the first vote since the military seized power in 2021, crushing mass protests and jailing civilian leaders, including Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi. The ruling junta claims the three-phase election will restore stability, but the United Nations, Western governments and human rights groups have dismissed it as neither free nor fair, pointing out that major opposition parties have been banned and public criticism is outlawed. The military-backed Union Solidarity and Development Party is widely expected to dominate the results. Israel has become the first country to formally recognize Somaliland as an independent state, a move that could reshape politics in the Horn of Africa and escalate tensions with Somalia. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel would move quickly to establish cooperation with Somaliland in agriculture, health, technology and trade, calling the decision in line with the spirit of the Abraham Accords. Somalia has condemned the move as illegal and a violation of its sovereignty, vowing diplomatic and legal action. The African Union, European Union, Egypt and Nigeria have also rejected the recognition, urging respect for Somalia's territorial integrity. Somaliland, which has been self-governing since 1991, hopes Israel's move will open doors to wider international recognition. Bird flu outbreaks have been confirmed in Kerala's Alappuzha and Kottayam districts, triggering mass culling of poultry and increased surveillance by state authorities. Rapid response teams have detected avian influenza in several communities and are enforcing strict control measures, including bird culling and movement restrictions around affected areas. Tests from a central laboratory have confirmed the virus in poultry samples. In response, neighbouring Tamil Nadu has activated border checks and stepped up surveillance at key entry points, especially near Coimbatore, to prevent the spread into its poultry hubs. Poultry farmers in Namakkal, a major egg-producing region, are reinforcing biosecurity measures and disinfecting vehicles despite no confirmed cases in the state. So far, there is no statewide ban on poultry consumption, but officials urge the public to take precautions, avoid contact with sick or dead birds, and follow health department guidelines. That's all for tonight from First at 9. For the latest developments around the clock, stay in touch with Auditor, the Sri Lankan news brand of international excellence. Thank you for joining, stay safe and have a great night.
From across the nation and around the world, this is Sri Lanka's #1 news source, Derana.